Yep. So first off, just want to thank all the subscribers. Appreciate you guys. Much love. Today I want to talk about juntas or meetings in the California Youth Authority. Why we had them, how we had them, what was their significance, and what I learned from them. I'm going to primarily focus on Fred C. Nellis because that's where I was the longest. I don't remember having any juntas in Ponderosa or Preston. And I could only clearly remember one junta in YTS that we had. So, now first of all, each cottage is different. So they're the same, they're very similar. Same reglas. The only thing is that there's small details, personnel, the way the execution of everything is. That's the difference, right? And if you don't know, it's gonna be hard to pick up on. But once you get there, you'll kind of understand and shit. So the reasons why we would throw juntas are because if somebody thinks that we should kick it off, right? So if they think a riot is necessary to establish some kind of order or respect or anything like that, right? So what would happen is at the junta, it's majority rules. So everybody has a voice. Everybody's supposed to speak up because you want to make sure that everything's on the table. So somebody will come up there and be like, hey, what's up, homie? We're throwing this junta because of this and that. And then the homie will be like, well, I want to bring this to your attention because he's going to start breaking that shit down. You know, sabes que? You know, I want to, let's say, for example, a crip over here is getting very disrespectful, homie. I told him to get off me a little bit. You know, we got down a few times and he's still trying to push up, dog. So these motherfuckers ain't going to learn unless we're going to kick it off, right? Something like that. And for the respected blacks, they'd have the same kind of thing. Like SA is doing this and doing that. We have to establish order, right? So that's kind of the way it was. It's like you had a gang of kids trying to do their thing, trying to establish order and shit like that, right? Make sure that nobody's fucking with them. So that's the first thing. That's why you would do it. You'd go around and you'd hear people talk. Depending on what they wanted, what their position was, you would hear different things. And everybody in there, I'm not gonna say everybody, but I'm gonna say like 80% of the wards had a mouthpiece. So they knew how to spit that. And they were gonna try to maneuver and deceive and fucking, you know, just move things to go in their favor. So they really felt, a lot of people spoke from their heart though. So I'm not saying that they're doing anything that was like, they're not really lying, but they're going to try to bend things to go to what they believe. So, like, let's say if they believe it should be kicked off, they're going to try to go in there and use whatever they could. Use whatever they could to make sure that shit gets kicked off, right? So, I'm telling you, like, they're going to try to go in there and they're going to try to spit that shit and make it seem like it's so fucking urgency. Stress the urgency. We need to do this. If we don't do this, we could lose everything. If we don't do this, we're fucked, homie. We're going to just let motherfuckers push us around. Come on, homie. I would never let that shit happen on the calles, G. So how we going to let that shit happen in here? And it's just different things, right? So you're going to go in there and you're going to spit whatever you can. There's people on the other side who are like, dog, I don't think a riot's a good idea, right? They're not gonna sound all scary, but like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea, G. They're gonna go in there like, man, you fools are fucking tripping, you know me? We got this coming in, you fools gonna put that shit in jeopardy because of a little fucking pride. You can get that shit in the blinds, G. If you want, fuck it, I'll get your run backs, homie. Or something like that, right? Or so there's different ways to go about it, right? There's different ways to go about it. Everybody's gonna spit what they have to say, and at the end, well, let's go ahead and see what it is. What do you do? Go boom, yeah, I'm for it. Shale, I'm against it. I'm for it. I'm against it. And it's gonna be majority rules. So whoever it is, like whoever's on top, that's what happens. And I've seen when I was in YTS, especially when I remember when we all, like, 3 of us said we should kick it off. Me and my homie Bobby and another homie said, hey, we should kick this shit off, G. Because we kind of saw what was happening, right? Other homies were like, nah, they wanted the clavo and shit. So they chose to not kick it off, and they ended up getting fucking moved on. But I was like, fuck it, that's on them, because that happened at baseball practice. I wasn't there, right? So, like, that's on you guys. Like, fuck it. But, yeah, back to Nellis and shit. So that was one reason why you would throw a junta. Another reason would be, especially for us when we were firme raza, is if we wanted to drop somebody leva. So we would see what rules were broken, right? and see what it was that needed to happen. So let's say somebody, a homie dropped something and picked it up. That's leva. So if, I'm not lying, the kid rules were kind of crazy. Sometimes you had to brush your teeth 13 times or just something silly to kind of get that shit out. So it's like, dog, he'll be dropped leva temporarily or something like that, right? Like, you can't fuck with us and this and that. But other things, like, let's say if somebody gets shot at and they don't retaliate, then that shit's like permanent leva status. Like, dog, you're just leva, like you went out like a sucker, right? So when that happens, we're supposed to throw a junta. Boom. And we're not supposed to speak ill about the homie behind his back. You know what I mean? So we throw a junta. Hey, check this out. I saw in the school area, this vato didn't run up on such and such, right? You know, that's a mandatory rush based on the reglas. He needs to, he needs to handle that business. He failed to do so. Because of that, I think homie's leva. Boom. What's supposed to happen is we're supposed to hear everybody out. But if that fool's with it, right? And he's like, dog, I didn't see that fool. What you think? You trying to smut me up or whatever? Because I'm telling you, YA is all about the mouthpiece too. So if you could just turn it around and make it seem like this fool's just trying to politic against you, if this fool's trying to smut you up or whatever, then you could go out there like, man, this fool's trying to smut me up, homie. Fuck that shit. You calling me leva? I said, you're leva. Boom, boom. You just rush that fool. Bam, 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 bam. So you start getting down with him and shit, right? And after that, the homies would be like, oh shit, this fool's a rider. Like this fool ain't going out like that. So at the end of the day, it could just be they could just make it so it's a personal issue between you and him. And what's a trip is it could very well be that homie did some leva ass shit. But if he's in that junta and he establishes himself like, fuck that shit, I ain't no leva G. So fucking like, he could fight his way out and people will be like, no, he isn't. You know what I mean? Like, this fool's tripping. This is between them two vatos. So that's one thing. Another thing that could happen though is the homie be like, I think he's leva because of this and that. And then another fool come out and be like, well, I did see this one time, and if it's based off of this situation, yeah, I think he's leva. And what's crazy is if this fool does not speak up, the further down it'll go, the kind of more aggressive it'll be. And fools will be like, man, fuck this vato. Hell yeah, this fool's leva. And then you'll just go, leva, go leva, and then bam. So fucking, yeah, so it could just go all the way down where everybody says this fool's leva and shit. And it's like shark infested waters. If they smell blood, they're circling that shit. So if they see that this fool's weak, if he's not gonna fight back, they're gonna get on his ass. It's a trip, man. It's really a trip. And you would see cats get demoralized in there. Like, damn, because you gotta, if you say, nah, shot, I ain't leva, homie, I'll get down with whoever says I'm leva, then you're gonna have to get down with all these fools. They said you're leva. That's the way it works. Whoever voted you leva, that's a Mando fade you got to catch with these fools. You could catch it in the blinds or whatever, but that's a Mando fade you catch with them. So there could be about fucking 13, 14 fools you got to get down with if they think you're leva. And if you don't say anything for yourself, if you don't speak up a certain way, then yeah, like you could have a long fucking rough ride there. And I've seen cats break because of that shit. So it's a trip, man. So yeah, that's one thing there. And if they actually drop you, you're fucked. Like, you can't touch the microwave, you can't touch the TV, you can't touch anything really. The iron, the washer and dryer. It's just a tough time, dog. You got to sit in certain toilets that are fucked up, called the dicked up toilets. So yeah, it's a rough time. So that's how it was in there, right? You had people speaking up. You got to see people honing their skills and sharpening their skills, trying to make it so that, oh, that's a loud ass motherfucking car. Yeah, try to make it so that they get their point across, right? So what did I learn from it? I learned a lot of things. I learned to be on the lookout. If somebody has an agenda, if somebody has if they're passionate about something, a lot of the times they're going to speak in a certain way that they're going to try to convince you. So you got that, right? So I learned that. I also learned to speak up. Not that I was afraid to speak up, but a lot of times when you go in there, you don't have those skills. You don't have those people skills to speak up at a, like, let's say for a job interview. You can't be shy. You got to go in there with your chest up. You got to go in there ready to go, right? So I did learn how to do that. I learned how to talk in crowds, because in YA, like on the streets, if you have a junta with the homies, especially if you're a youngster, you could get away with not saying too much. You vote, yeah, Simon, I'm with that, or whatever, right? But in YA, there aren't too many of us there in those juntas, right? At certain times. So if there's only like 13 firmas at the time, then each and every one of you are gonna speak. And you can't be like, oh, I don't know, dog. Or like, if you say like, oh, I'll go with majority, you're kind of you're playing your cards. You're exposing your cards, I should say, where everybody could see like, oh, okay, this vato, he could be gamed up. Like, okay, we could kind of see like if we need something to go our way, we could kind of maneuver and get this vato to go with what we say. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to be willing to speak up so you can show people I have an opinion. I'm gonna stick to my guns, and this is what I believe. Because if they think that you have no belief or no backbone, they're gonna try to exploit you. They're gonna try to get you to be on their team, on their side. So if something comes up, they got you in their back pocket, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I learned that. Learn how to speak. Like, when you're at a junta too, you can't speak low. You can't be like, well, I don't know, homie, sabes que, this and that. Nah, hell nah. You gotta say, sabes que, homie, the vatos leva. You gotta say that shit with confidence. How are fools gonna take you seriously if you be like, this fool's leva, dog? I don't know. I think this fool's kind of leva. Well, what he did was kind of leva. Nah, fool, you have to be certain about that. Even if you think what he did was kind of leva, you have to say it a certain way. You have to say that shit assertively. Like, check this shit out. I see this vato do a lot of good things. Vato straight, you know what I mean? He's been feeding me for time. From time to time, I've seen, or you can't even say from time to time. You gotta be like, check this out. This vato's been feeding me, dog. I've always seen him do his thing. But if what we're saying is true here, that's some level ass shit. And I would drop him for that. Assertively, right? You can't be half-assed with that shit. You gotta let them know what your position is. So that's what I learned I learned all that, and I still use a lot of that to this day. Not really politicking, shit like that, mainly from like if there's a business meeting, or fucking if there is like a job interview, anything like that. You gotta come in ready to go. You gotta come in ready to say what you're gonna do. So yeah, that's just that's what I gotta say about that. Check you guys out later. Much love, and with that, we out. Peace.